Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Jillian. Everybody want to go to heaven? Well, I'll tell you how to get there. It's not by works of righteousness which we can do, if we could do them. It's by the grace of the Lord Jesus. He did it all. There's nothing left for you to do but to believe, to put your faith and trust in Him. And the moment you do, it's settled. It's sealed. Thanks be to God. Well, go back to Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy is one of the most important books in the Bible, and a lot of folks don't realize that. It's quoted more than 80 times in the New Testament. And Jesus, when He was asked the question, what's the greatest commandment of all, He quoted from Deuteronomy. The Shema is there. The Ten Commandments are repeated there. It's a marvelous book. So I hope you will join me on Sunday nights for what can be a very, very important study. Now, today we're in chapter 1. There are 3 great sermons in Deuteronomy. The first one begins in chapter 1, verse 6, and goes through chapter 4. And Moses is telling the story. He's reminding a new generation of Israelites of where they've come from. They're now on the verge of entering the promised land. And they're excited about it, but they know it's going to be tough. It's going to be a challenge. There's going to be some warfare they're going to be facing. So he's trying to get them ready for that. Did you take a road trip, any of you, this Christmas season? Did you get out on the road? 93 million Americans did. They drove more than 50 miles to Grandma's house or somewhere to celebrate the holidays. Maybe because the gas prices were so low, and they were lower than we've seen them in a long, long time. Better than 1 out of 4 Americans traveled this Christmas season. Audrey and I did. We drove down to Daytona Beach, Florida, Christmas Day. That's a good time to travel after you open presents and kiss your relatives and all that. Get in the car and go because nobody else is out there. For 12 hours, we drove down to Florida and spent a good week, and then we came back on Friday of this week. Drove the same 12 hours, had a wonderful time together. But you know, travel is something of a metaphor for the Christian life. Because all of us are on a journey. We're all of us traveling. Sometimes it takes longer than we thought it was going to take. And you know, you never know. You get out there on the interstate and there could be something up ahead that stops traffic, and you find yourself waiting a long time till it gets moving again. That's nothing compared to what the Israelites faced. The first paragraph of chapter 1 of Deuteronomy, we didn't read it, but if you read it, you will see that the journey from Egyptian slavery into the promised land really only should have taken about 2 weeks, 11 days to be precise. And yet it took the children of Israel 40 years to make the journey. God had given them a land, but it took them that long to get to it because of some decisions they made. Traveling is a good image of the Christian life. In yesterday's Washington Post, there was the story, I don't know if you saw it or not, but the story of smugglers who are bringing in migrants from Syria and maybe Africa, bringing them into Europe. And it's gone on for a long time. You know, these smugglers will get people to pay them a great amount of money. They put them all on these barges, pack them in there tight, hundreds of them, and send them off. Well, they've done it for a long time. But what I didn't realize, and maybe it's a new approach, they pack them on these barges, they send them off, and then the captain and the crew all abandon ship. They put the barge on autopilot, and good luck. And off they go, headed straight for the rocks of the Italian coast. Well, you're on a journey, but God doesn't do that to you. The Israelites were on a journey, but God didn't leave them like that. He gave them Moses, their leader. Moses, their guide. And in the middle verses of chapter 1, we didn't read this